This is 4th and Goal on Break the Cast.
You're listening to Break the Cast. My name is Jeff Blagden. I am here with Andrew Reese and Christian Smith, as always, and we are bringing you our mid-season 4th and Goal special. First, we're going to do our normal show. We're going to recap everything the week last week. Then we're going to pop in all of our predictions for the rest of the season and our thoughts on the season so far. So, to kick things off, let's just talk about, for a quick second, how bad the San Francisco 49ers are.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
Do we have 3 hours right now?
Do we start at Blaine Gabbert or like?
Oh.
Well, that's the big news this week, obviously, is Blaine Gabbert is starting at quarterback ahead of Colin Kaepernick. Something that did you guys see coming?
I'm not surprised, but I'm kind of surprised. I'm in the middle about it.
I'm not a big fan of the move, in all honesty. I'll be totally honest, because you know what? I don't think you could blame everything on Kaepernick that's going wrong with this team.
But when you're leaving receivers wide open and you're in the NFL,
that's an issue. But I think that comes down also to the coaching and the offensive coordinator. As I've mentioned before on the podcast, him losing Greg Roman is a huge part of Kaepernick's career.
And they had to change something up, and it all
Yeah,
starts with the quarterback.
Yeah, well,
Who takes the hit when a team is losing?
the coach or the quarterback, one or the other.
no,
Exactly.
yeah,
And they're not going to
wrong.
fire Tomsula after hiring him at the beginning of the year with everyone saying it was a terrible move.
Or in the
They're not gonna
Lions
admit-
case, the GM, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a couple minutes.
Well, he's just a terrible GM. Yes.
Yeah.
The Lions fire a GM every 2 years like clockwork, so
Yeah,
we
it's
just
normal
kind of
for them.
expected it to happen.
Mhm.
The complete opposite end of the spectrum from the 49ers, we had a 101-point game last week.
Hey, the
Crazy.
49ers
New
put in
Orleans
6
Saints and
oh,
the
that
New
one
York
game.
Giants.
So just a quick tidbit here. Drew Brees, 511 yards, 7 touchdowns. Ties Roethlisberger as the second person of throwing a game for 500 yards, and he becomes the 8th person to throw for 7 TDs in a game. Absolute monstrous fantasy game. I had him in one league, 60 points. Hello.
And then on the other
Thank
end,
you.
you had Eli Manning, who
6
threw for
TDs,
6
0
touchdowns as
interceptions,
well.
and a loss.
Yeah.
When do you ever hear those words?
Yeah.
0 interceptions, 6 touchdowns, and you lose. Like, poor guy.
And
In other words, the guy I played fantasy against this week benched Breeze.
Wow.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Wow. I did not. I
Well,
played
I
Brees
didn't
over
play him yet.
Roethlisberger. Figured it'd be the smart move because they were playing the Giants. I'm definitely glad I made that move.
I didn't play the guy, but there was a guy in my league as well.
He had him benched
Breeze. And
over
yeah, Andy Dalton who put up a good, solid 9 fantasy
Wow.
points.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he was not happy at all.
And safe to say, Odell Beckham, no Madden curse for this guy. 3 touchdowns, huge game again.
I said it before the last time we brought this up on a podcast too, that I don't think the Madden curse affects wide receivers.
Fair.
I don't think it affects good players.
Eh,
Let's put it that way.
it affects them, but it doesn't affect them in they play bad. It affects them in they get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is usually the cause of the curse, is they get hurt.
Yeah, unless you're Peyton Hillis.
I was
And
going to
then
say,
you
just
fall off
suck.
the face of the earth.
that one still doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't understand why he was ever on the cover in the first place.
That's my point. Like, when you're good, aka not Peyton Hillis,
Yeah,
it doesn't affect you.
Speaking of that Giants game, did you guys see the punter with the golf celebration
Oh,
after he
yeah.
hit that beauty of a punt?
oh yeah.
Best celebration I've seen out of a punter by far.
You know what? Punters got to have fun, too.
Hey, they got it.
Exactly.
I'm not against it.
No, me
I
neither.
enjoyed it a lot.
I like
That's the
it.
most fun I've had watching a punter in ever,
Hey,
probably.
That's the most fun I've had watching a football game this season.
Oh, for sure.
52-49.
Game of
the year,
Last
definitely.
second field goal win. Like,
I was like, what's it called? I was not watching the game at first, and then I'm looking at my phone. It's like Breeze has 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's like
okay.
the- it's
and
like
then
the
it was
first
like, Manning
quarter.
has 4 touchdowns. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, it was a ridiculous game. It was
It was
awesome.
pretty ridiculous. And I mean, my favorite celebration from it was Rob Ryan on the sideline after the Saints finally got a stop on the final possession. He's like, yes!
Yes.
We did
We finally stopped Eli.
it! Like,
Yeah, though that
making Eli Manning look like 2003 Peyton Manning over there.
like the thing is with that game, it's not even game of the season. That's a game like you're never gonna forget. It's gonna be on NFL Network all the time.
Eli's never going to forget.
It reminded me
Yeah,
of that,
poor guy.
that Cowboys-Broncos game. It was either last year or the year before when Romo and Manning just had that complete shootout.
Just a gunslingers game. Yeah, exactly.
All right, quickly, what's your reaction if you're Eli Manning after this game?
I can't say it on the podcast.
What up, defense? Where you at?
I just like walk out, just like not even walk out in full pads, just walk to my car, drive away.
It's like I did my job. He brought his lunchbox. The other guys didn't.
That was, yeah, that defensive effort. Well, then again, for both teams.
I was gonna say just the Giants.
But on the opposite side, we had an incredible defensive effort by the Broncos this week. The other Manning's team. He was happy with his defense.
Ridiculous.
That was.
Did we all pick Green Bay going?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
we did. We actually picked them to blow them out.
Yeah.
I did not. I just want to.
But you did pick them.
I did pick Green Bay, but I said by 7 or.
But Aaron Rodgers, 77 passing yards. Alex Smith had more rushing yards than Aaron Rodgers had throwing yards.
That's why he was drafted number 1, man.
Ooh.
Do you ever feel that sentence you would hear said in real life?
What do you guys think about Peyton Manning's game? 21 for 29, 340 yards, no touchdowns.
And interception too, though, right?
I believe so.
Those numbers are a product of him throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Yardage is yardage, right? But, like, I still have the same questions about the Broncos. Even coming out of them blowing out arguably the best team in football, I still have the exact same questions about them. They got a decent running game going this week, but still, that's a sporadic thing from them. That's a very questionable part of their game. And their offense didn't look particularly outstanding.
And that's what I mentioned earlier on the podcast, too. Like, in past ones, if you have C.J. Anderson or Ronnie Hillman in fantasy, it's always like you don't know what you're going to get. Hit or miss. Too. Yeah, exactly.
Like, they got obviously, you know, they put up, you know, a decent amount of points against the Packers. But at the same time, going into that game, I questioned their offense. I questioned their ability to get the ball deep down the field. And I questioned their running game's ability to make a big impact on a game.
Well, yeah,
right?
no, I agree.
And I have those exact same questions that I did coming into it, despite the fact that they blew out the best team.
What about Vernon Davis coming? Do you think that's going to change a lot? Vernon Davis is going to be helpful.
He's going to fill the role that Julius Thomas did last year that they were sorely missing this year. And it's going to be huge for Peyton to have a tight end that is a receiving threat again. It's going to make him look a lot better. But at the same time, Vernon Davis is a different type of tight end. He's basically a wide receiver that plays tight end. He's got the speed of a wide receiver. He likes to run deep routes, which is what he's been in San Francisco over the past few years. He's been their deep threat, right? And that's, again, something Peyton has not shown me that he can do this year.
Well, the thing with Vernon Davis, we saw a lot of his inclusion when Alex Smith was with the 49ers. And since Colin Kaepernick took over, if you look at it, his production has gone down. So I think it's a good move for Vernon to go over to Denver.
I think tight ends always kind of suffer, though, when they're playing with a running quarterback.
Exactly. Well,
because rather than throwing those short, you know, little outs to the tight ends,
they want
to run the ball, right?
Yeah, it's the run-first quarterbacks, safe to say, like you said. Yeah, no, and I'm okay with that. But in regards to this game, obviously, as you mentioned, Denver, their offense is still kind of a question, but that defense...
Oh, they've got the best defense in football.
Hands down.
Like, I did not think coming into this year it would be that good. Like, we knew that they were going to have...
Harrison to leave have 3 pick-sixes already, I believe, between the two of them.
Something around there, yeah. But it's a ridiculous defense that they got going out in Denver. It's really good. It's been fun to watch Denver. Like, you know, we've kind of come in. We've bashed them a couple times, even though they're...
Well, no, we didn't bash them, really. We more so bashed Manning.
Yeah.
And I'm still not a believer 100% yet.
No, I'm not either.
The things that we knocked on them, though, are legitimate things. Like, we're not just picking on them. They do not, you know, show us week to week that they can be a consistent offense. And
agreed.
They straight up aren't. And even this week in that blowout, they still...
It's a perfect example,
did not look
really.
particularly good.
Anderson had 101 yards. Hillman had 60 yards. 3 TDs between the two of them. Last week, or the week before, they had, I think, 40 yards between the two of them.
Yeah, I was going to say 40.
So literally, they're hit or miss with that offense. But the defense is what's saving them every game.
So I think this is the time of the podcast where we do not talk about Aaron Rodgers because I think we jinxed him. We
got nothing to say, really, this week.
77 yards from Aaron Rodgers.
That's not even human on the downside.
Let me touch on one thing, though, really quick. ESPN, a few years back, they released the QBR rating, right? Which was supposed to be something that was a better statistic than quarterback rating to go by, than the traditional quarterback rating to go by, right? Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers had a better QBR that game than 16 quarterbacks. And we're talking, obviously, about, you know, benched quarterbacks coming in, too. But the 16 quarterbacks played, other than him, he had a better quarterback rating.
That's brutal.
That's ridiculous.
Or not quarterback rating, QBR. That is how terrible that statistic is.
Yeah, the fact that a guy threw for 77 yards. Like...
Yeah, on 12 for 21? I mean, his completion percentage was decent. He didn't throw a pick, but
77 yards to
77
77
77
yards.
yards, 0
Yeah.
touchdowns. Like,
Yeah, 14 for 22.
yeah, like,
Attempts.
yeah, it's just a little quick thing I wanted to throw
Yeah.
out there. Also, Ken Wisenhunt has finally been fired from the Tennessee Titans. Finally. Now, as a Cardinals fan, I have a hate-hate relationship with Ken Wisenhunt because
Could've just
he
said hate.
kills quarterbacks' careers. He just does. And Titans fans need to be happy now that
They saved
Mariota might
Mariota.
actually have a chance of becoming a decent NFL quarterback now because he doesn't have to deal with Ken Wisenhunt anymore.
But guys, he's Montana. He's the best. He's the best rookie thing we've ever seen.
Wisenhunt should never have gotten another coaching job a head coaching job, I should say, after that mess at the end of his career in Arizona.
So obviously it was a big downfall for Tennessee. But DeAndre Hopkins, another great game for the Titans.
What did we read for Wisenhunt? Wasn't he 1 in
Oh,
28?
yeah. He was 1 in 20 when he has less than 8 months to prepare for.
Yeah. You sent us that. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's just needed to throw that out there really quick.
Whoever
As a
made that
Cardinals
meme
fan,
may have got that guy fired.
the best the best Twitter thing I've ever seen is Matt Leinart ripping on Ken Wisenhunt. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, go and look up Leinart's tweets about Wisenhunt. It's amazing because he just rips on the guy all the time. And like as soon as Wisenhunt was fired, Leinart sent out a thing to Mariota saying, "Congratulations, you have an NFL career now."
That's great.
Of course, Leinart
I was gonna
having
say
his own career ruined.
I was gonna
by
say
Ken Wisenhunt.
I was gonna say Leinart saying you have an NFL career now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Leinart had potential when Denny Green was in Arizona. His rookie season, the last 6 games of his rookie season, looked like he'd have a future as an NFL quarterback. And then Ken Wisenhunt came in, and it just...
Do you remember when Leinart signed with the Bills?
Yeah, wasn't
He lasted one preseason
He signed
game
at the
and
same
then he
time
was
as Cobb,
cut.
didn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It was around there, but he played half a preseason game, and then he got cut right at the end of the game. They just said, "See you later."
The thing with Leinart too is he's always been been a solid quarterback as far as his ability. He is just not a good person.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like,
Yeah.
you read about that.
He
the
is
attitude and
so
everything.
cocky.
Mhm.
It's not even funny. And again, his tweets to Wisenhunt go towards that to show you that a guy who still has an NFL career is
Oh yeah, absolutely.
being ripped on by a guy who doesn't. But
Now, other than the 52-49 game between the Saints and Giants, what was some other games that stood out to you guys this week?
Oh, that Colts-Panthers game was fantastic.
Yep, the overtime game. Panthers were able to pull it off and go to 7-0. It was a
I
very
say
good game.
Hasselbeck should be starting.
I agree.
Andrew Luck is just not looking like Andrew Luck. I
The-
don't know what happened to the first.
the
Came out, I
firings-
think he has fractured ribs, or he's had fractured
Really?
ribs since week 2.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it's clearly holding the team back, then why start him?
They're under big investigations from the NFL for that too, for disclosing that from their injury reports.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah, they haven't registered that he's had that in his injury reports, and now the
Mhm.
NFL is because somehow it got leaked,
Mhm.
and now the NFL is really looking at cracking down. They're talking about taking away draft picks.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Speaking of injury reports, how many people got injured this week?
Oh,
Le'Veon
man.
Bell,
Out for the season. Reggie Bush,
6
out for
to
the
9
season.
months for
Steve
Le'Veon.
Smith, out for the season. Keenan Allen, out for the
Out for the
season.
season.
Kidney laceration. Fantasy team getting
A
hurt
lot
again.
of people's fantasy teams are going to be.
Yeah.
There's going to be a very busy waiver wire this week.
Oh,
Look,
my league went absolutely crazy.
I
this
picked
week.
up Steve Johnson and Malcolm Floyd on the Chargers to back up for Keenan Allen.
Now I wanted to say
Now I don't know
quickly-
which one to start though.
quickly in terms with Le'Veon Bell. So the big thing is obviously he's out for the season, but the injury is also 6 to 9 months.
And the same leg that he hurt last year
So
against
this
the
is
same
going to
team.
very much. It might slow Le'Veon Bell down dramatically coming in next season, but also if the fact that he is out for 9 months, that's going to take away from off-season workouts.
I'm
and
waiting
a lot
for
of
people to start ripping on Goodell for keeping him out at the beginning of the season. Because let's face it, he was kept out, suspended at the beginning of the season. He didn't get to go through all of the same level training that everyone else on the team got to go through, and now he suffers an injury.
Do you think that training will really stop that injury? I mean,
No,
like his
I
leg
don't-
snapped.
I don't-
Absolutely.
I don't know if it would stop the injury, but we see more and more injuries every year in the NFL now, and we see more and more ridiculous suspensions every year in the NFL
Mhm.
now. I mean, at some point, you got to think there might be a bit of a relation between those.
One good thing though that came from the Colts in that game, going back to the Panthers and Colts game, Andre Johnson, 4 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. So that was really good to kind of see Johnson get some involvement. He only had 4 catches, but they were all big.
Floodgates are finally starting to open in Indy, though, too. Now with the offensive coordinator being fired, we're all pretty much assuming that Chuck Pagano is going to be gone at the end of the year, unless he pulls off some miraculous playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably gone.
Because they're still tied for first in their division,
They're
I
3
believe.
and 5.
They are,
but
they're in a division with Tennessee, Houston, and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Like if they don't,
But they get in the playoffs. All you gotta do is win one game when you're there, right?
Oh yeah, they can realistically make the playoffs under 500
Mm-hmm.
in that division. So
It's looking that way.
8
and 8 probably.
I was going to say 8-8, 9-7.
They'll get into the playoffs. So based solely on their domination of teams in their division, right? But at the same time, that's not really anything to hang your hat on, especially if you're Chuck Pagano, who has not really shown anything particularly amazing as a coach so far.
No, not at all.
And now the way this season has been going.
Well, even the way Chuck Pagano speaks after games, it's almost like he doesn't care. Like he just knows it's going to happen, so he's kind of just going with what he wants to say instead of kind of the professional aspect. In a way, sometimes that's good, but then other times it's like, what are you doing? Like you're kind of hurting yourself doing that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a tough situation there in Indy.
How about a game that this week that was the complete opposite, that was horrible to watch, and that was Seattle-Dallas.
Brutal.
I was going to say, Christian, you want to give us your insight on this?
Well, I mean, backup QB, you can't really expect too much out of the Cowboys, but I mean, those Seahawks, they're brutal. Even the games they win this year, terrible.
They can easily lose any of the games.
Yeah, they could be 0-7, 0-8 right now. No problem.
Obviously,
but I did see Romo practice full pads yesterday, I believe. I'm not thinking he'll be back this week, but hopefully maybe we get him back for next week. We definitely need him. I've been saying this since he went out. We're not a complete team without that QB.
No, and, we mentioned this last week, obviously, with Des Bryant coming back. And obviously when you get Romo back, that's going to be a big up, obviously, for that team.
And again, with Des coming back, too, it'll help Terrence Williams because everyone expected Terrence Williams to take a huge step when Des went out. But he had to deal with number 1 DBs. He never dealt with that.
Yeah.
When Des comes back, he can take off those good DBs off him. Hopefully it opens Terrence Williams to break out a bit more again. Witty doing his regular thing that he's been doing.
Dez's impact is kind of limited by the fact that he has Castle throwing him the ball, though. Because Castle's not going to take risks. Castle's not going to try to force the ball into him in the end zone. Right, which is that's really where Des Bryant shines, is in the end zone, making those catches.
Yeah,
that are catches.
Coverage.
Yeah.
Good,
sometimes are catches.
But not. And that was what my point was going to be. Obviously, Matt Castle only threw for 97 yards in that game. Terrence Williams had 20 yards.
He threw for more than Aaron Rodgers.
He threw for more than Aaron Rodgers. Matt Castle, would you believe it? But no, that's my point.
With under 100 yards. Wow.
And that's what my point was basically going to be, was when Tony Romo comes back, I think we will see Terrence Williams play well again. Obviously, you're going to have Dez doing what Dez does. Witten. Just the only question right now for Dallas might be the running game. Obviously, they're going with McFadden. Randall is gone from the team.
They released him.
They released Randall, so now you got to go with Darren McFadden for basically the rest of the season.
If he makes it there.
I was going to say, that was my next question to you.
They're definitely going to need to look at more running backs.
Oh, I feel like they signed someone. I'm not too sure. I know they've been working out some running backs because Dunbar's out too, so they need someone else besides McFadden. Yeah, he is. Yeah. He tore his ACL.
No Dunbar, Randall's gone. Yep. So you really now you got McFadden.
Would you imagine coming into the season when they were talking about the running the 3-headed running back set there, that the only one left
would be
McFadden? Yeah, no, if you told me after 8 weeks that Darren McFadden was the last standing running back on Dallas, I'd laugh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure most people would.
Yeah.
Most people would laugh if you didn't say he was the first one down.
Yeah. No, and it's exactly true. Like, I'm kind of shocked with the Randall thing that happened. So what was really the insider behind that with Randall going?
Same thing as Leinart. He's just not a good person.
Really? So it's not, obviously, because skill-wise, he's not.
Immaturity, I believe they were saying. Contradicting to the team,
Yeah. And with that, speaking kind of the immaturity factor, I wanted to ask you guys too, I believe it was last week, not the week that just passed, we had the Greg Hardy situation where he was arguing with Des Bryant on the bench. What did you guys think of that?
It's Greg Hardy and Des Bryant.
Yeah. They both got big mouths. They're passionate about the sport. It happens. I'm not too concerned with it.
Yeah, as long as
I'm hoping we lock Hardy up though, so we get him a little bit cheaper than
Yeah.
what he's probably gonna get in the off season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's signed for $1 million this year, I believe.
The thing too is you got to think though. Teams are going to be looking at his history and be like, is this guy really going to be able to play out a contract with us without getting suspended?
3 sacks, 2 games though.
Yeah, I mean,
some teams will take a chance.
It's not bad statistically. Well, I mean, the Giants
The
signed
Jags.
Jason Pierre-Paul, so
Yeah, you got a guy with basically one hand.
anything could really happen, I suppose. But I don't think he's going to get huge money because people are going to want to give him small, short
and have it very
contracts.
incentive based.
Yeah. They're going to want to give him like a 1 or 2 year contract just to see what's going to happen. And giving a 1 or 2 year contract, he's going to be around like $8 million, $9 million, right? So, which is nothing for Jerry Jones.
Now, another game that happened during the week that seemed to be a decent game was the Oakland Raiders upsetting the Jets, 34-20.
With Geno Smith at quarterback.
Of course,
I feel like that's
Geno.
an asterisk that has to be put in there whenever you're talking about that. But
still, you know what? That's a good win there by Oakland. Derek Carr, 333 yards and 4 touchdowns in the game. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Over under for Raiders finish with wins. Over under 9.
I think they go 10.
I think 10 as well.
I think 10 wins for the Raiders.
Yeah, 10 and 6.
So they're at 4 right now. I'll take. I could see them going 9 wins. I don't think they'll
you
hit
take it even then.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I can honestly see 10 and 6 if they play the way they have with their offense producing the way it has.
Yeah, their offense has looked good, which is something that we don't say often.
Amari Cooper is a monster.
He's
Khalil Mack's a monster.
Khalil Mack, and as I already said, Carr is playing some very good football as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's good for Oakland. You know, they've been kind of the punchline for quite a few years of football.
Since Rich Gannon.
Them and the Bills.
Listen, the Bills had a bye week, so we don't have to talk about them this week. Okay, good.
Well, then let's move on to a week that they are playing with next week, so we can rag on the Bills a little bit. Let's jump over into our predictions really quick for next week.
I'm ready.
So we got the Thursday nighter, which is the Browns versus the Bengals, and we got Johnny Football starting tonight.
Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals.
Bengals 8-0. Up next, we got the Packers and Panthers 6-1 versus 7-0.
Panthers are home. It's worth mentioning.
I got Panthers 14-10.
I think the Packers deal the Panthers their first win. I think Aaron Rodgers comes back.
First loss?
First loss, sorry. I think Aaron Rodgers comes back from a horrible game to put up. I think he puts up like 350 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers. There's no way they lose 2 in a row. I don't care who they're playing. I think Packers. They can't lose 2 in a row.
And then we got Washington versus the Patriots.
Not even a question.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots. Yeah.
If you wanted to know, the game's in New England as well. So.
Yeah. Well.
If that changes your mind.
Yeah. I think Washington does better on the road against the Patriots.
Now we got the Titans versus the Saints. Saints coming off that 52-point performance. I'm sticking with the Saints this week.
Saints are going to destroy them.
Yeah, I think Breeze puts up another 4 or 5 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, I'm going with I was about to say New England, New Orleans as well.
New England's winning that game too.
Yeah, New England's going to win all
That's
the
how much they're going to win this week. They're going to win 2 games.
Yeah.
Then we got the matchup of the 3 and 4s. This will be for 3rd place in the division. We got the Dolphins versus the Bills. Tyrod back this week?
Yes, he is. Thank goodness. And it could be for 2nd if the Jets lose, which we'll get on to.
And Buffalo's at home.
Buffalo is back at home after their bye weeks. Yep, so Tyrod Taylor is back. Sammy Watkins can be back. LaShawn McCoy is back. But no Percy Harvin and Kyle Williams. But
Dolphins have Dan Campbell, though.
I got Miami, to be honest.
I'm taking
Tannehill's looked very good the last couple of weeks.
Carlos Williams may also be playing another injury thing, so we might have the threat of McCoy and Williams. I'm taking the Bills because they look somewhat healthy again. They're missing Harvin and Kyle Williams, as I mentioned, but everyone else kind of seems
There's also
to be on
the
boat
second
back.
half of the season Rex Ryan curse that you have to
which is kind of scary, but no, I'm going to stick with my Buffalo Bills in this one.
I'm going Miami.
Then next up, we got the Rams, quarterback killer Rams against the Minnesota Vikings.
This is a really tough one.
Yeah,
those are almost 2 completely dead even teams.
The Rams are 4-3, but they're not awful.
Yeah. What are the Vikings?
5-2, and they're not super good. It's kind of a weird one in record contrast, but I'm gonna go with the Vikings on this one.
I'm gonna take the Vikings too because they're at home, and the Rams are such a sketchy team. They'll play incredible one week and then be like, who are these guys the next week?
No,
right?
agreed.
I don't know. I like the Vikings in this matchup, and because they're at home, so
I'm going St. Louis. Look for that front seven to get at Bridgewater, and look for Gurley to have another huge game.
True. Yeah, no, Gurley's.
I agree with Gurley. Gurley's going to have another big game.
And up next, the game that I mentioned before, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Jets.
I got the Jets.
Yeah,
I've
remember
got-
what I said about second
Yeah.
place? Probably not happening.
I've got anyone who's playing against the Jaguars.
Unless they're the
you're
Bills.
Buffalo, yeah. And the other team. Who did they beat earlier this
Yeah, but
season?
in the UK, I'll give the Bills a slide.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm going to take the Jets in this one as well. Is Fitzpatrick playing?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Okay, then I'm taking the Jets. If it was Geno Smith, I'd pick Jackson.
Mm.
Up next, we got the Raiders, as we mentioned earlier, against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
With Big Ben back as well again.
Big Ben back. D'Angelo Williams will now be the running back. I'm going to pick D'Angelo Williams having a very big game, but I'm taking the Raiders in this one.
I'm going to take the Raiders, too.
I got the Steelers.
Good pick. Why? Why the Steelers? If I could
I
ask.
think they're upset for one on the game that they should have won last week against the Bengals. Roethlisberger had a bit of
Did not
rest.
look
First
good.
game back. He'll look like himself this week.
Exactly. That's first game back.
Yeah.
It happens. And up next, we got the Giants against the Buccaneers.
The Bucks with a nice upset last week against the Falcons, which we didn't touch on. But I'm going.
I don't think they can pull that off 2 weeks in a
Yeah,
row.
I'm going. No, I'm going Falcons. I think.
Falcons.
You mean
Or
Bucks?
sorry, I'm going.
Oh.
I'm going Bucks. I think Giants are going to be deflated from that loss last week. That defense is.
But Tom Brady's not throwing the ball.
What do you mean?
Deflated.
Uh,
There you go. I'm taking the Giants in this one. You can't score that many points, lose, and not come back hungry for more.
or
I'm
you
taking
come
the
back
Giants.
dead though.
No, I think they're fine. I'm taking the Giants.
What's Eli's last name?
And
Manning.
Have you ever seen a Manning brother or a Manning, anyone in the Manning
Any
family,
Manning?
not come back from a 6-touchdown game that they, any big game that they just lost and not come out with a vengeance?
Yep.
I don't.
I'm taking the Giants big in this
I
one.
can easily see Eli putting up another 5 touchdowns this game.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take the Giants.
Yeah, I'm taking the Giants in that one. Up next, we have the beautiful 49ers, best team in the NFL. Again, I feel bad for them. Against the Atlanta Falcons.
I feel bad for them.
I
They
do.
have Super Bowls, man.
My uncle's a 49ers fan. He calls me poor guy, and he's just complaining about them. So
I'm gonna take the Falcons.
Yeah,
'Cause, I mean,
Falcons.
it's the 49ers. The Falcons haven't looked good.
They
the
gotta
last
bounce
2
back.
weeks. They haven't looked good the last 2 weeks, but we're talking about Blaine Gabbert and the San Francisco 49ers.
absolutely, and I agree. You guys basically touched everything on there.
Yeah.
Falcons. Up next, we have the 7-0 Broncos. Will they make it 8-0 against the Indianapolis Colts?
In Indy.
Yes.
Peyton Manning comes back to Indy again. Big story, as always.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're talking about Andrew Luck going up against this defense.
I know.
This is gonna be pick city.
But if Hasselback plays,
I want to say the Colts are going to upset them for some reason, but I can
But-
also see him going out and throwing 6 interceptions this week.
It's gonna be pick city. I say he throws 4 picks.
I'm-
I think
And
2
gets
of them.
benched in
I
the
think 2
third.
of them are returned.
I was going to say I think we'll see Hasselback maybe in the fourth quarter of this game. Broncos will win this game.
Yeah, Broncos.
Broncos.
Eagles, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Divisional, 8:30,
nighter.
Sunday nighter. I got the Cowboys.
So is Romo is not playing?
No,
this week?
I don't think he'll be playing this week, but I still got the Cowboys.
And are they just rolling Castle? I'm
Yeah,
assuming again?
Yeah. You won't see Whedon again.
That's true. So he's permanently in your doghouse then forever now because he has no redemption to get out.
I guess so.
What if he saves a puppy crossing the street that's about to eat
Okay,
back
then anyone is
Would you
on.
take
What
him out
kind
of
of
your
puppy?
doghouse then?
Would you not take Jonathan Cooper out of your doghouse if he did the
I
same?
mean, if it was a pug,
Jonathan,
Pugs are- Okay,
Jonathan,
we'll save
the
this
thing
for
is,
another
Jonathan
one.
Cooper would try to pick up the dog,
But then
but
you
he'd
get a
slip,
call for
miss, and
holding.
fall down.
or you get called for holding.
You get called for holding.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's a tough game. I'm
Cowboys
gonna
at home, that's why I
Cowboys
got
are at
it.
home. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll take Cowboys at home.
I'm gonna take the Cowboys too, just because I don't have any faith in the Eagles anymore.
No.
And we got the best Monday nighter of the year. The
Browns.
Chargers versus the Bears.
The Browns. Yeah, Bears and Chargers. What do you guys think of that one?
Who cares? But I'll go Chargers.
I'm gonna take the Bears. I don't know why. I just have a
Ooh.
feeling. I have a feeling.
I'm
the Bears
not
will
upset
miss.
with that pick.
I'm taking the Chargers.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
But remember, the real winner of that game is
Are the
us
fans.
watching. Yeah.
Damn right.
I won't be watching.
I was gonna say if there's a hockey game on, I'll probably be catching
There you go. See.
that.
Okay, so being that have just gone through week 8, it is since there's 17 weeks of the season, there isn't really a true center point, although we are halfway through this week. So technically,
This
this
is
is
the
pretty
exact
much
half
the
point.
center point. So we're going to go over all of our mid-season stuff here. But first, we're going to get to something that we do every show, which is our doghouse. And we're going to do that first because we've got a little something coming up later.
Before we
in the show.
get to that, updated top 5 right now. Go.
Team-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You're putting me on the spot.
All right, I'll go because I know mine.
My laptop.
Pats,
goes.
Broncos, Panthers, Bengals, Packers. Honorable mention your cards.
Pats, Broncos, Packers, Cardinals, Panthers.
Pats, Broncos, Packers. I think very easy. Carolina, Arizona.
I like
There
it.
we go.
All right.
All right, so we're going to do our doghouse first this week, like I said, because we got a little something coming up later in the show. So this week, doghouse, Christian, who you got?
The defenses of both the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. When the coach is on the sidelines celebrating, you get a stop in a 52-49 game. That is a problem. Both those defenses, you are in the doghouse and
Deserve to be there.
deserve
Welcome
to
to
be.
college football in NCAA.
Yeah, no kidding.
I am going to put in a team we've already touched on in this podcast as being probably one of the most atrocious teams I have seen in a long time, and that is the 2015 San Francisco 49ers.
Woo!
Like, guys, come on. I understand that half your team from last year is in a retirement home, but you picked Jim Tomsula to be your head coach to start off. That was the start of this trail that it's not even a trail. It's just flushing down a toilet. Like, it's a swirl going down a toilet at this point. Like, yes, you're not going to put up what you did last year. I get that. But you guys have looked like one of the worst teams I have ever witnessed play football at points this season. That Cardinals game was probably the worst game I've ever personally witnessed a quarterback play.
The funny thing is, we're talking so much about the 49ers, but there's still a team worse than them in Detroit. And we
There's a
still,
team-
But they don't look
There's a
as
team
bad
worse
as the
than
49ers, you know?
that's true.
Like, they have games where you're like, oh, they're competing. The 49ers, when they lose, they lose.
They lose, yeah.
Like, and even when they win, it's like, that wasn't very impressive.
Mhm.
Like,
It's a fluke.
yeah, it's like...
It feels like a fluke when
Yeah.
you watch
Yeah.
them win this year.
Well, Jeff basically touched up on mine. My doghouse pick is Jim Tonsula. Simple reason, he's saving his own butt by benching Colin Kaepernick. He's trying to make it look like Kaepernick's fault. He's going to look like a fool when Gabbert fails, even worse than Colin Kaepernick. So Jim Tonsula...
And
you're
they throw
right.
Kelly Smith in.
Yeah, and then they're just going to look for someone else on the street.
We're signing Quincy Carter, guys.
But yeah, no, Jim Tonsula, easy pick for me this week.
Okay, so now on to all of our midseason picks. First, we're going to go through our individual awards. Who you guys think are winning MVP and so forth. We're obviously going to kick it off with you know what? No. We're going to kick it off at the lower end and finish off strong with MVP.
I'm okay with that.
So let's start with who you guys think for your comeback player of the year.
Larry Fitzgerald.
That's true. It's a respectable pick.
I don't really need to explain that, do I? I mean, he's
No,
been
yeah,
killing
you-
it this year.
Can I pick all three of the Cardinals that are
I was
making
going
their
to say
comeback?
Palmer
Carson.
and-
pretty
I
sure.
was going to say mine would probably be Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a
I'm not
Cardinal.
mad at that
I
either.
actually had down Chris Johnson.
Because
Because
I like that the best out of the three, to
I
be
mean,
honest.
nobody really expected Chris Johnson. to do
Career
anything.
rejuvenation.
Like, Ellington was supposed to be the starter. David Johnson was supposed to be the backup, and Chris Johnson was supposed to be there
Kind of there
just in case, right? The guy got shot in the
Yeah, like-
offseason,
Mhm.
and he's coming in, and he's second in the league in rushing.
Would you guys put Peterson in talks for comeback player?
Nah.
Yeah.
No?
nah.
Generally,
Just
they
'cause
don't-
of why he was
generally
off.
they don't hand
Yeah.
them.
I don't want to give him that
Yeah,
respect.
no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really coming back from something that's like,
he
that's
put
a big
himself
thing to
in
come
that
back from.
situation to
Like-
be off for it, and he
Yeah.
still got
I mean,
paid while
he
he
was
was off.
he was suspended. He wasn't hurt. He
Yeah.
wasn't on the bench. He wasn't not signed. He didn't put up a crappy season. He was just suspended.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree. I think those three would probably have to be in talks.
By far
for
the
winner.
best.
Yeah, Chris
Just
Johnson,
best
Carson
option.
Just
Palmer.
put the Arizona Cardinals offense.
Yeah.
That's our comeback player. of
Minus
the year.
Cooper.
Well, he's not really coming back from anything. He's never been very good.
He's not even coming off the bench.
He should be. But come on, for a second there. Earl Watford, man, what are you doing? Why aren't you fighting this? Go and talk to Arians. Be like, hey, coach, can we just sidebar?
He just
here?
goes to his
Like-
mail, and when he sees his check, he's like, I'm not mad. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm just sitting on the bench. And he's
True.
like, I'm not
It's like
mad.
I'm getting paid like a starter, whatever.
Yeah.
But all right, so coach of the year.
Coach of the year thus far.
I feel like this one's going to be fairly unanimous. I'm going with Dan Quinn with Atlanta. I mean, that defense hasn't looked great, but compared to what it was last year and compared to the pieces that they have there,
I'm going to go Rivera on the Panthers.
Thanks for taking the name. I was just looking up Carolina Panthers head coach.
With losing your star receiver, your star lineman, and still being undefeated right now, he's doing some good work down there.
Yeah, I'm taking Rivera as well. 7-0, as much as I mentioned, I'm not crazy on the Cam Newton kind of phase. They are playing some good football in Carolina, especially on defense. I got to take Rivera with that
the
one.
only reason I'm taking Quinn over them is because Carolina's defense we knew was going to be good. It looked good last year. They're not really, they're shocking people with their win numbers, but with all their other numbers across the board and the way they're playing and the way they're getting wins, it's not really shocking me. It's pretty much the same thing they've done for the past 2-3 seasons, right? Whereas the Falcons are a completely different team. Their offense looks rejuvenated. Their defense looks like miles improved from what it was last year, right? So I feel like the impact that Dan Quinn has had,
I would maybe
and coming in his first year too, I feel like it's bigger than.
I would sit with that pick if they didn't take those 2 L's recently. Losing to Tampa hurts me.
Even still, though, those losses that they took this year would have been blowouts if it was last year's defense.
Fair.
Right? And the pieces on defense aren't really that spectacularly different. He's just coached them up to be better than they were last year. Speaking of defense, though, let's go with Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Defensive Rookie of the Year? Whoa. Did not see that question even coming.
That's tough. You got one?
I've got mine. I'm riding with Proto's Bills here, going with Ronald Darby.
Good pick.
Well, this year hasn't been extraordinary for defensive rookies either. Not like we've heard in years past with big name rookies coming out of the blue like Khalil Mack last year, etc. Right? And I think Darby hasn't been statistically mind blowing, but he's done enough for that Bills team to be an important piece of a defense that was already really good.
Now, I would love to say Darby. In all honesty, I'm going to be totally honest. I don't really know many defensive rookies coming into this year. Darby has done a good, clean job, like from what I've seen, obviously, with the Bills, my team, the team I watch the most. Yeah, Darby's done a clean job over there. He's got to grow, obviously, as every defensive rookie does. But yeah, no, I respect that pick. Kind of nice to hear that a Bills player might win something. We had Kiko Alonso, and then we traded him for Sean McCoy. So, Ronald Darby's not an awful pick.
I think Alonso's back this week, finally.
That's why the Bills got rid of him and injuries. It's a shame.
They got rid of him because he played for Oregon.
Yeah.
and Chip Kelly
came knocking. He was like, "I need my players back."
I need some guys from Oregon. Can you help a brother out?
Christian, any idea?
I hate to ride your guys' bandwagon, but you made a pretty solid case for Darby.
I think really it's between Leonard Williams and Ronald Darby.
Yeah, right now.
I think that's what it comes down to this season.
If I went with anyone else, maybe Kendricks, the linebacker on Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. I think those are a fair kind of 3 for the.
He's been steady all year, on a team that's 5-2, looking all right.
And the funny thing with Darby quickly was when he was drafted, a lot of people in Buffalo were kind of like, huh? They were kind of like raising eyebrows. But now that he's played, everyone's in love with the kid. They love him. So
he brings a solid energy to the team, though, too.
Yeah, and you could see it, and he plays with a lot of emotion, but it's not like a bad emotion where he gets in players' faces. Like, you could see him kind of with the arms, always like, let's go, let's get it. So that's why I'm personally a big fan of him.
Offensive rookie, I think we're all going to throw the same name out here. I think it's going to be Gurley. It's between Gurley and Cooper.
Cooper's a close second.
Cooper ran away with it at the beginning of the season, but since Gurley's been...
He's literally been running away with it.
I was going to say,
in the mix, he's been, he's looked like the second coming of Adrian Peterson, so...
It's tough because we mentioned you got to look at the offenses and everything else, coaching. But I guess Gurley is the safe option with that. But yeah,
well, if you look at the offenses too, then you got to put Gurley there anyway.
Oakland's
offense is significantly better than St. Louis.
Exactly, and that's what my point is exactly. Yeah, so I would go with Gurley on that one.
All right, defensive player overall this year.
The best
defensive player.
Not J.J. Watt.
Probably Kuechly.
Yeah,
especially after that Colts game.
Yeah, I'm going with Kuechly too.
The amount of big plays he makes, it's ridiculous.
He's looked like the best linebacker in the league, and linebacker is the toughest defensive position to play, other than maybe safety, right? So I got to go with Kuechly.
Yeah, Kuechly.
Offensive Player of the Year.
So this basically could go to MVP talks then.
It could, but generally they don't. Generally they give it to basically the second-placed MVP finisher in most cases.
I go Tom Brady right now.
Going Tom Brady?
After last week, Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Devontae Freeman.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think he's been
Fair
such
enough.
a shock, leading the league in touchdowns. He's got 10 touchdowns. He's got almost 700 rushing yards. He's just, and it's been such a shock too. And everyone's quick to jump on quarterbacks and give quarterbacks all the credit
I like that a lot.
for the big offensive awards. But I think he's been a huge impact and been really helpful in Matt Ryan's slight, renaissance that he's had this season. So I'm going with Freeman. So the big one, the award everyone's waiting for,
MVP.
most valuable player in the NFL this season.
Not the sexiest stats. 7-0, Cam Newton. He's the most valuable to his team right now.
I still make
With
the
who
same,
they lost,
I still
and
make the
to keep
same
them
argument I did
7-0.
last week. The same argument I did last week in that you can substitute other players onto that team and have them.
Yeah, but it
have the
doesn't
same
mean that they're going to
impact.
listen to him and instill that faith they have in
If you're
Cam
putting
right now.
Tom Brady or Aaron
Okay,
Rodgers
I
on
will
that's
that
a
tell
team-
terrible
I will tell
example.
you
Put Matt
right now.
Ryan or
Yeah, but I'm not
a
gonna,
normal
I'm never
QB
going
on
to
that
say
team.
Matt
It's
Ryan.
not going
I'm
to
never going
happen.
to say Matt Ryan is the MVP. I'm talking other players that are in the conversation for MVP. You
I
put
will
them
tell
on that
you
team.
right now, Colin Kaepernick on the 49ers could do what Cam Newton is doing.
No,
My personal opinion, I think he could.
no chance.
It's
Cap can't even find when a receiver's open. You're telling me Cam does stuff
he's also
like that?
being coached
Never.
by Jim Tomsula.
Tomsula doesn't give him eyes. If a receiver's open, waving his hands at you, and you're not noticing that,
Yeah, but
that's
I've
your
seen,
fault.
I've seen Newton do the same thing. Newton can have terrible eyes down the field when he's out there too. Just because he's been doing more towards his style to win them games.
He has no weapons besides Greg Olsen, though. He's doing this with a kick returner as his number one receiver. He's 7-0. Ted Ginn Jr. is their best
I
receiver.
still say you can take other people that are ahead of him in the MVP conversation.
But
substitute
besides
them on
Brady
that
and
team.
Rodgers, I don't think you can put just
It
any
doesn't matter
Joe
because
Blow
those are
on
the
that
guys.
team.
Those are the guys that are above him, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about most valuable player, and yes, that means most valuable to their team. But you're taking that in a retrospective, looking at it.
Well,
in
then
the entire
Rodgers
league,
should win it every year.
right? Rodgers could win it every year.
Just like LeBron should win it every year in
my
basketball.
pick this year, I have Rodgers at second. I'm taking Brady
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
the
obvious
Patriots,
reasons.
he's coming back with a vengeance. The Patriots are looking.
And at 38.
The Patriots are leading the league in scoring.
Yeah.
And Brady's leading the league in pretty much every
QB,
efficiency
almost,
statistic
yeah.
for a quarterback. So I'm putting Brady there. Rodgers would be my second. And honestly, I'm putting Palmer as my third. So, this is a quarterback's award. So
Yeah, it always goes to a QB most of the time.
unless a running back puts up 2,000 yards, it's going to a QB.
Exactly.
What about a question for you guys going back to Defensive Player of the Year? Robert Quinn, defensive end on St. Louis Rams.
He's a solid player, but they're 4-3.
Of course, and I think the record ultimately.
Kuechly's playing for a 7-0 team.
Yeah.
Quinn is playing for a 4.
And making interceptions to win games
That's
at the end
true,
of the
yeah.
game.
I think
I
it's
mean,
easier, yeah.
It's not like J.J. Watt where he impacts the game so much that you can give it to him regardless of his team's finish.
Mhm.
No, of course.
Mm.
But
Kuechly's versatility.
MVP.
MVP, I already said Tom Brady. As of right now, after
Yeah.
last week, I'm sticking Tom Brady.
All right. So those are our individual awards for this season. Let's go over now who we have winning each division. Let's kick it off in the NFC. We'll go with the North.
See, North.
My pick
Green Bay.
obviously is the easy pick. It's going to be the Packers. They're
Mhm.
wiping teams.
We
out
don't need to
from
even
day
talk
day.
about it. It's Green Bay. Minnesota's not catching them. NFC East.
The South. Oh, we're going East. All right, let's go East.
NFC East, sorry? You guys said?
East. I'm going Giants.
Yeah, I'm sticking.
I can see the Cowboys making a run at the end once Romo comes back, but I don't know. The Giants have an easier schedule, and the way Manning's been playing this season.
If I was betting money on it, I would say the Giants, but in my heart, I think the Cowboys can still come back and take that division.
Yeah, I'm sticking Giants with this one. Cowboys second.
All right, let's go to the
South.
South.
Carolina.
I'm going with Atlanta because I think Carolina's the better team. Don't get me wrong, but Atlanta has a really weak schedule for the rest of the season, and there's not a game on that schedule that they should lose.
But they lost to Tampa last week. I would
That's
agree
true.
with you if they
That's
didn't
true.
take
They
that
lost,
L to Tampa
They lost
last
to Tampa,
week.
but at the same time, the team's coming up. I can't see them losing enough games to put them. I can see Carolina losing 4 more games
Mhm.
this season just based on their strength of schedule, right?
I was.
And they finished 12-4 then.
Exactly. But if the Falcons win out, they finish 14-2. So
Yeah, but Falcons are 0-2 in the division. Carolina's 2-0. So if it comes down to any tiebreakers,
Now, I
they
think I
got
was
that
gonna
right now.
agree.
The best team Atlanta plays throughout the rest of the season is New Orleans.
That's a L though. They lost to Tampa last week. I mean,
I don't think it is a loss at the end of the season to New Orleans. They play them in week 17.
oh okay, very last game.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to agree with you. I think if Atlanta had won the game last week,
I would
against
I
Tampa
would
Bay, I would
be
probably,
too upset taking them, but I
yeah.
can't see Carolina.
But right now, yeah, I'm going to take
Losing
the
that.
Panthers. Yeah.
Mhm.
Again, like I said, though, I think the Panthers are a better team.
Mhm.
But I just, based on
I
strength of schedule,
agree, yeah.
I mean, Carolina has to play Green Bay next week.
Yeah.
That's a
Then they got the
loss.
Bengals
They
somewhere.
got the Bengals in there.
See, I think they're gonna beat Green Bay next week.
Green beans.
All right, let's
NFC
jump to the
West.
West.
Arizona, safe to say.
I'm going Arizona. They've just got too big of a lead at this point with the way that the other teams are playing for them to catch up.
49. No. Arizona, of course.
Who's your two wildcard teams?
From the NFC?
My wild card number 1 is the Panthers.
I got
obviously.
mine's Falcons, and then my number 2 is Minnesota.
My number 2 is also Minnesota.
Yeah.
Falcons, Minnesota.
Panthers, Minnesota.
Yeah, safe. It's either one or the other. Let's be
Unless
real.
Minnesota slips up, and in that time Dallas
Or
ahead
the
and takes
Giants
over.
take that. I could see a scenario where that
Exactly.
The
happens.
problem
It's
is-
going to come down to like the last
Mhm.
week.
The problem
where
is, I think Dallas'
has-
optimal finish is around 8-8,
Yeah,
right? Which, if it's winning the division, sure, but if it's a wild card,
it'll be tough.
I mean, you can have the Seahawks finishing at 10 wins realistically if they pick it up. You can have
Minnesota
you can have
finishing
That's
at
why
10.
it's such kind of
Atlanta,
tough.
Carolina finishing at
Atlanta,
10.
Carolina,
Yeah.
even New Orleans can
Yeah.
make a run at it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, but I think the safe money bet would obviously be Atlanta and Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go AFC East now. I'm sure we're all on the Patriots right now.
Yeah.
AFC North.
Bengals.
No questions.
Yeah, I mean,
If Steelers got that game last week, I'd say they come back. But yeah, Bengals just have too much of a lead to lose that right now, I think.
in the regular season.
Yeah.
If this is the playoffs,
Not
we're going a
playoff
completely
season, yeah.
different direction. But yeah, no, Bengals.
AFC South.
I don't think the Colts can possibly lose it. I mean, with a division as weak as it is, the Colts are probably going to make it at 7-9.
If
Like-
the Houston Texans make the playoffs,
I'm
this
going
year,
Jags.
I will.
No, I'm joking.
You
Hey, they're only a
scared me.
game behind.
You're really
They're
scared.
only a game behind.
the Titans.
But no, I'm going Colts. I think they're going to turn it around
They
eventually.
have
I
to.
mean, who knows? They could get in at 8-8, 7-9,
7-9, yeah.
get hot in the playoffs, and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though?
I mean, the Colts win
With
the division.
football, it can happen. You win one game in the playoffs. Anything can happen in those games.
Yep.
All right, West.
Kansas City, Denver Broncos.
Yeah, the Kansas City Broncos. No, I'm going Broncos as well, but watch out for the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm
in
going
the division.
Broncos.
And
wild
wild
cards. I got Jets and Raiders.
I got Steelers and Raiders.
The Jets. You can make an argument as like the second or third best team in the AFC.
Mhm.
This
At this
hurts
point.
my heart because before the season, I was like, we're going to get the number 1 wild card spot. I was like, I know it. I know we're going to do it.
Yeah, you're not.
We're probably not.
No, you're not.
Okay.
It's not probably. You're just
You
not.
guys are done.
Yeah, I'm going to go Steelers, and I still kind of want to say the Chiefs, but because I don't see Oakland making the playoffs.
See, I
That just
debated
doesn't
my
seem
pick
right.
between the Steelers and the Raiders, but at the end of the day, I had to go with Raiders just because they're solid on both sides of the ball, whereas the Steelers have been terrible defensively this season.
I'm going to go Steelers and Jets in this one.
All right, so who we got going to the Super Bowl?
I'm sticking with my original pick.
Not Kansas City.
Packers, Patriots. I want to see it.
This is mine and Proto's chance to
To redeem
drop
myself.
Baltimore and Kansas City.
I'm just going to say I'm going to keep Green Bay from the NFC. The AFC, if I pick a good team, they might just shatter like yours and my picks did.
He's
during-
picking
So
the Bills.
please say the Patriots.
No, the Bills, I don't want to see them lose anymore. Yeah, you know what? Cincinnati does not show up in the playoffs. They kind of just take their off season early. So I'm going to go New England.
Okay, I have the Bills losing in the Super Bowl to the no.
The Cowboys.
No, I don't even have them in the playoffs. I'm gonna have them losing
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl. Come on, Proto.
And
No,
every time I hear the words Bills and playoffs, it excites me a little, all right?
My AFC pick is the Patriots. They're on a vengeance. They look so much better than every other team in the entire league right now at this point. So I don't see how you can't put the Patriots in at this point. NFC, you can't ride your team, but I'm going with mine. I'm saying the Cardinals find some consistency get into the playoffs, and under the tutelage of Bruce Arians in the playoffs and Carson Palmer being healthy in the playoffs, Larry Fitzgerald, who is still the record holder for most receiving yards in a playoff season, I can't see them getting into the playoffs with everybody healthy and not making a solid run at it. So I'm going to say the Cardinals go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Patriots, and the Patriots go back to back.
Back to back.
With Malcolm Butler winning Super Bowl MVP.
Oh,
no.
Carson Palmer throwing pick on 4th and goal on the 1.
They could have just handed it to CJ.
Oh God. It wouldn't be CJ. It'd be David. It'd be DJ. No, come on, man. So there we have it. We've finally been able to drop Baltimore and Kansas City.
I no longer have to defend KC. It feels good. But I still have to.
Next week comes on the show. Kansas City's losing, getting blown out, 37-0.
Yeah.
I
can't wait.
It's like they're playing the Jaguars. I don't care. Bortles MVP. But so like I mentioned earlier in the show, we did our doghouse picks, which we've done throughout the year so far. We threw our guys in for this week. I'm going to say now we're going to pick our doghouse MVP for the first half
Jonathan
of the season.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't really think there's anyone else.
Or it's you for being a Bills fan.
Or Brandon Weeden.
And flaking.
And Brandon Weeden.
Because
he went in there and he got benched.
But Cooper plays every week and consistently messes up.
He was in twice at one point. Like there was 2 Jonathan Coopers in the doghouse.
We cloned him just to put him.
Yeah. Now there's just one in there right now. We did take him off last week, but again, didn't look particularly good this week. It's like I said earlier, I couldn't watch the beginning of the Cardinals game because I was at an event. I was looking at it on my phone. The first time I went and I checked what the last play was for the Cardinals game, it was holding on Jonathan
61.
Cooper. Holding 61 offense. I'm like, really, man? Really?
When you die, we're going to let him carry your casket because he's good at holding, so.
Oh, man.
Sadly, I'm pretty sure he's younger than me, too.
Rude. Wow.
The pole bearer.
Shots fired.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan Cooper.
If you see him in person,
I will not say those words to him.
Can I get an autograph? But I know your number.
61. Holding. That's how he actually signs it, too.
You should just get a Jonathan Cooper jersey that instead of Cooper, it's number 61, but it says holding. Holding 61.
People can make I like that rookie holding on the
What's his number again? Oh, yeah, 61.
61.
It's got to be his name because it's all you ever hear before it.
They're watching the game. They're like, "What does his jersey say? Cooper? Is that his first name? Cooper Holding."
That actually sounds like it would be
Cooper Holding, exactly.
Cooper Holdings.
Should change his name to that.
Let's start We'll start doing NFL draft coverage, and we'll start talking up a guy named Cooper Holdings.
Cooper Holdings. And all the GMs are like, "Who's Cooper Holdings?"
Yeah, because they all listen to us.
Yeah.
They're just you're just gonna have the Bills GM. They're just like, Cooper Holdings. We need to get this guy.
What do you think happened with the Lions? They weren't doing anything. They found our podcast. They're like, wow, we're really that bad. And then they fired him.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
obviously what happened.
It's true. Number 1 overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft by the Detroit Lions, Cooper Holdings.
But safe to say Jonathan Cooper's our doghouse MVP.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Yeah, we've talked about him enough that I don't really think we can go with anybody else at this point.
Now, another segment that we do on the show here is our start and sit of the week for fantasy football.
Correct.
Yep. So my start of the week this week is D'Angelo Williams of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said earlier.
Yeah, that's my start as well.
A very good game. And my sit of the week is Blake Bortles against the Jets.
My start's D'Angelo Williams. Obviously, he played well the first 2 games. He's going to get all the touches he can. And my sit is Luck going up against that Denver defense. Pick City, like we said. I can't see him having more than 10 fantasy points. Yeah, unless he just gets a bunch of garbage points in the fourth quarter.
My start of the week. I'm going with the 49ers defense. No, my start of the week is going to be Adrian Peterson against the Rams because the Vikings don't like to pass the ball a lot, and then they're going up against that Rams defensive line too. I think Bridgewater throws like 6 passes this entire game. Like it's going to be nothing. It's going to be all Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
And of course, as we know for running backs in fantasy, carries mean points. and especially red zone carries, which are going to be huge because, I mean,
That's
what
where
else are
they're
they
going to
going to
finish
do?
off the play.
So yeah, the risk for touchdowns there. My sit of the week is going to be Andy Dalton against the Browns because I like the Browns' pass defense. They're middle of the league, but I like the way they play, and I don't like what I've seen out of Andy Dalton the last couple of weeks. He hasn't looked like the MVP candidate he was earlier in the season.
Yeah, he's kind of
But-
slipped up, even though they're 7-0.
I
But
think
I
it's the
he'll
hair
come back
growing
from
out.
it. Probably.
It was his haircut that he was drawing all his power from early in the season. But
Wait till the playoffs.
yeah, my other selection for start of the week, if I could go that way, would have been Tyrod Taylor, just because he's coming back. He's playing the Dolphins.
I was going to say, if you're taking anyone away from that game, Charles Clay, for sure, because Tyrod Taylor, that's probably his favorite target. Clay lit up the Dolphins in Miami last time, and I think he'll do it again this week.
But that's what I'm going to go with for fantasy this week.
Fair.
So the segment again that we love to close out the show with that isn't as difficult this week as it has been in weeks past.
Trying to help Proto out, eh?
It actually is.
120.
It actually is really angled towards something that Proto might know, as opposed to something that you would know.
You're down 4-1, so I'll give you this one.
So as we know, Aaron Rodgers this week, terrible game. His official quarterback rating 67.3.
Okay, before you go on, is this supposed to be a dig at like a Bills quarterback?
Nope. It's his lowest quarterback rating in a game since when? What is the date or the week, whatever you prefer to go to?
So I could say like week blank of this year.
Mhm.
Okay. So it says, what was it? What was his QB rating this week?
This week was 67.3.
And he had it lower once.
When was the last time that it was lower?
Oh, I think I do know this. Week 15 of last year.
Week 12, 2012.
It actually was week 14 of last year
Against the Buffalo Bills.
against the Bills. Do you
Yeah.
know what his rating was for a bonus point?
77.8.
It's lower than 67.3.
Lower?
Yeah.
Oh,
56.5.
64.5.
34.3.
Ew.
Yeah, the Bills lit up
It
Green
was-
Bay that
It
game.
was 158 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
That's
the
brutal.
Bills had a very good game.
All right,
and then
next week you can give me a Cowboys question.
If I can come up with them
Here-
after they get
here-
smashed this
I-
week.
You shouldn't even be happy
No,
about
I'm
getting
not.
that point, to be
Because
honest.
that actually brought up the worst memories for me last year because we beat Green Bay and we beat another good team and it was like the wild card is a thing, even with Doug Marrone. All we had to do was beat Oakland and beat the
Oh,
Patriots.
yeah.
We beat the Patriots
And lost.
and we lost to the Raiders.
I remember that.
I was at work watching that game and I went to the back and almost cried. I'm not going to lie. I just sat there in a chair and covered my face.
So close.
Yeah.
Yet so far
So close to
away.
losing another Super Bowl.
Playoffs, man.
I
1999.
think they would
It's
have
been a long
gotten to the
time.
Super
Oh,
Bowl.
definitely not.
Hey, if I could just say they made it to the playoffs, I would have been happy.
Trust me, it's when you're losing to the Panthers, it's not that big of a deal.
Whatever.
We made it to the playoffs after starting 6-0 and lost to the Panthers, who finished 7-9 with, of course, Ryan Lindley.
At least your
Starting.
team makes the playoffs when they go on an undefeated start. I watched the Bills go 5-0 with Trent Edwards and then finish 5-10.
Yeah, when I was Trent Edwards.
Or sorry, what was it? 6-10, whatever the record was. Yeah, I said 5-10. I was like, that does not sound okay.
They
Yeah,
just
finished
they just took
6-10.
away the last game of the season from them. They're like, you know what, guys?
They felt so bad.
We're
for
done.
Hit
We're
the
done
summer
with
early,
this.
boys.
6-10. Like, that was awful.
That was the first time the NFL decided to do the whole schedule shifting thing. They just took away the Bills game.
Quick question before we end the podcast. So, what do you guys feel about the games in London? I don't like them.
I hate them.
I understand why they're doing it. I don't like it from an outlook as a fan or as a player, or because I mean, the players now have to travel across to the UK, adjust to playing a game early in the morning.
In a different time zone.
I don't like it as a viewer, a gambler, and a fantasy player.
But I can see why they're doing it. The games sell out every time.
Yeah,
They're
it makes sense.
They're huge over there. The thing I don't like is them talking about putting a team there and having a team play there because That's just insane. You'll have either one team each week going there and traveling all that distance to play there and give that team a huge advantage, or have them on their away games travel across and give the other team a huge advantage.
Now, I was going to say, I didn't get a chance to mention this earlier, I just remembered it now, was me and Christian, we didn't even know till the morning of that there was a game in England.
They didn't advertise
Jeff
it
did,
at all.
There was not a lot of advertising going into this game. I think especially because the week before they had the game already with Buffalo Jackson.
Yeah, I thought they were only doing two.
Me too.
Is it one every 9:30 now? Every Sunday?
No, it's not every time. They've got a deal where they have to play at least 2 games until 2018 in what's the stadium? Wembley Stadium, and then they go to the Tottenham Spurs Stadium in 2018,
White Hart Lane,
where they're going to play two games a year there, 1 preseason and 2 regular season.
Yeah, that's right, because a lot of the players from Tottenham, they usually go to the practice and they do the whole jersey swap thing where Tottenham players hold an NFL jersey. Yeah, so
I'm not sure if is Tottenham opening a new stadium in 2018.
There's been, I believe they are, or they're making White Hart Lane.
Because I think they just called it Hotspur Stadium or something.
That's dumb.
I think that's what they were calling it. So I'm not sure. If
quick side note: Tottenham's my English team. If they call it just Hotspur Stadium, that is dumb. White Hart Lane all the way. That's been the name of it forever. Again,
I'm not 100% sure. I'm just pretty sure from the advertising for it, or from not advertising for it, but from them talking about it during the game. I think that's what I recall.
Mm-hmm.
But, so we actually made better time than I thought we would on this podcast. We did a good job at hustling through our early stuff. So until next week. You're listening to 4th and Goal, and remember, when it comes to 4th and Goal podcast, always go for it.
Thank you for listening to Break the Cast.